So I'm Prathamesh. In the past 2 months in Losfunk, I try to explore around if I could teach Tulu to LLM, right? This is from my personal bias because I am somebody who speaks Tulu. I'm from Udupi region. And for people who don't know what Tulu is, it's a language spoken in coastal Karnataka and northern half of Kerala. So this is a language which is extremely old, somewhere around 2000 to 2500 years old, and most of it is orally spoken, although manuscripts have started arising recently. But again, this makes it an extremely low resource language because there's practically extremely less data. So I started out with a simple example where I started talking to GPT-5, Grok, and Claude 4.5. These are the major LLM providers, and I try to ask it if it knows Tulu or can it explain to me something in Tulu. But it ended up giving random gibberish. So it had Kannada words, some randomly made up words. Because again, the main problem arises from here. When you train an LLM, all of these major LLM companies, they use roughly 8,000 plus. That's around 8,000 plus languages, but majority of the training data comes from the top 10 languages. And right, so, and most of the other languages are not considered, right? And when I specifically mentioned Tulu, out of all the languages in the world, it comprises of around 0.001% of data. And now that is an extremely low resource problem. And I figured out, manually creating hundreds of data and then fine-tuning an LLM would not be efficient enough. And that's where Paras nudged me to think about a different way, where I could come up with the most efficient manner. Now, the core question comes here is, if a language has very limited presence, can an LLM learn it? And if it does end up learning it, what's the main ideology behind it? And what's the technicality behind it? And that's why Tulu is one of the most languages which can be used here, right? So this brings us to our first insight, where when you don't have data, you cannot fine-tune an LLM, so it does not really make sense. So what is something you can do? So before I go with the solution that I approached to, I'll talk about a couple of problems that I did face over the set of 2 months. The first problem that I'd call is a script chaos problem. So now Tulu is something that can be communicated in 3 ways. You can write it in Tiglari script, there's Kannada script, and there's also English, or romanization, right? So the issue with Tiglari is it's an extremely old written language. Although there's Unicode support to it, it needs a specific niche software for you to digitize it. So that's going to be a painful problem. And Kannada script is whenever I try to interact with the LLM in writing in Kannada but Tulu words, it ended up shifting towards Kannada, right? And also when I spoke to it in English, like the previous example, there was no standard. So in case of Hindi also, I can write may as M-E-I, someone else can write M-E-I-N, someone else can write M-A-I. So same goes with Tulu as well. That's a simple example where I mentioned Yan Pope, which means I'll go. Right? So this is where I came across to the first solution, where why cannot I just use romanization over using Tiglari? And because of those experiments, I figured out that when I used romanization system, tokenization was much efficient than using Kannada, and it was easier to validate for me. Although I know how to read Kannada, it's better for me to make things faster. And script triggering problem was not encouraged when it came in terms of romanization, like Kannada. The second problem is, again, to highlight back, whenever I use Kannada terms, it ended up shifting towards Kannada, and that's majorly because your LLM has more Kannada data than Tulu data, so roughly 1000x of it, right? And if I talk about shared words, now LLM also gets confused because of that. A simple example again would be if I say in Kannada tin daita, which is have you eaten, in Tulu it'll say tin danda. So the root words are very similar, and that's where LLM gets confused while tokenizing those words and shifts towards Kannada representations. And needless to say, there's higher probability of Kannada tokens getting exposed, right? So enough about these problems. Rest of the problems are pretty simple, like lack of data, lack of humans or community to evaluate it. So what are the solutions that I came across was, first thing is I broke this down into a 5-stage pipeline. So there's a grammar documentation stage, seed Q&A pairs, prompting, self-play, and LLM as a judge. So we'll explore all of this one by one. So in the case of grammar documentation, what I did was I made sure to have all of the grammar rules like word conjugation tables, your marker rules, postpositions, just like how you'd learn grammar in school, thought that if humans could learn it in a certain manner, why not LLMs? So, and like I mentioned in romanization as well, there was a issue of people pronouncing or spelling the same thing in 5 different ways. So just like how German has umlauts, Tulu can also have certain retroflex or velar sounds which can be added, and that's why I made that as the standard while I was giving the data. So once I had the grammar rules ready, I decided to manually make 200 Q&A pairs, and this was across all different contexts. So it could be greeting, it could be numbers and time, daily conversation, grammar rules, and certain words. The main design principle behind these Q&A pairs was each example should teach you certain grammar pattern. So just like how you would open your grammar book to learn a new language, you want examples for certain grammatical usages, right? Same way for LLMs as well. So once I have grammar rules ready, I have the 200 Q&A pairs ready, I decided to create a huge prompt. Now this prompt consisted of identity, forbidden Kannada words, grammar rules, vocabulary, and Q&A examples. Now why did I give forbidden Kannada words is because in these 4 experiments, where the first experiment was me prompting naively, saying that, you learn Tulu experiment, like Tulu AI assistant, can you respond to me in Tulu? It ended up giving 80% of the content in just Kannada, right? Just like how you saw in the first screenshot. Secondly, when I started introducing grammar aspect to it, it still shifted towards Kannada at 28 to 30%, which is still bad for me. So I decided to give negative examples because I figured out there are more common words in Kannada that often spewed out. So why not just tell that don't use this and use an alternative? That worked really well, so brought it down to 12% Kannada leakage. And finally, I combined all of these rules together, and it was down to 5%. So it was able to talk in Tulu at an intermediate level. So now, again, this comes to an insight on why negative constraints work than simple prompts. So it's because these models are, learned to predict tokens based on the probability distribution. So when I give a general instruction, it shifts towards the one with higher training data possibility, which is Kannada. So, but when I specifically suppress those instructions, it goes towards the one that I want. So in my case, it was Tulu. Right? So this gives us to a point where direct constraint is more effective than general instructions. So after this, I decided that, okay, 200 is okay for intermediate level, but what if I wanted to talk like me? I'd need more examples, right? And manually doing it is just going to take me a lot of time, and that's not really worth it. So what if I could have the model synthetically generate using all the rules that I gave? So that's where the self-generation loop comes into the play. And the way that this works is you have your entire prompt, all the grammatic rules ready with seed examples, and you give a certain theme for it to generate. So this is again very dependent on you on what context you want the model to work. So I specifically gave a conversation about the family, and it was able to generate a good amount of pairs. Now how do I know that these pairs are really well is I have LLM as a judge in between. So I had 3 LLMs. So things like glue and all of those metrics did not really make sense because they wanted exact match. And Tulu has multiple words for a single thing. And that's why I considered 4 different things. So grammar accuracy, vocabulary purity, natural fluency, and cultural appropriateness. And all of this was taken from my grammatic rules and the initial seed prompt itself. And I just took an average of them out of 4. So 3 independent judges, like LLM as judges, take into consideration. So only if that example passes a threshold of about 3.5, then consider that example. So once you have that, okay, now you might tell that, okay, LLM itself doesn't know Tulu, how do you, assess it? That's where I also came in between as a human and loop feedback. There were 2 observations that I noticed. A huge disagreement was in the naturalness part, because if somebody speaks Tulu in Udupi and Mangalore and Kasaragod, it's completely different. So it's a natural thing to have a disagreement on that area, but it ended up sticking to the grammar rules and spoke really well, which is pretty cool. So this helped me validate the filtering approach. And so the main key insight to take from this talk in general is LLMs have universal grammar knowledge, And few short examples can activate those language-specific patterns without retraining them or fine-tuning them. Right? All in all, to summarize the talk again, whenever you're prompting for teaching low-resource languages, negative constants work really well. You should also be giving contrastive examples so that your LLM gets context from each of these examples. Your density matters, meaning every example that you give should help your LLM teach those grammatical patterns. And obviously, your first prompt will not work, and that's why the self-play and iterative process came into play. And yeah, your grammar rules is something that's really important because morphology in every different language is completely different. So although LLMs have like a general context of how grammar is, but for specific languages like Tulu, you have to specifically mention it. And that's the screenshots where Gemini is able to talk to me in fluent Tulu, where I was talking about what I was doing today, and I have a talk in loss func, although it confused loss func with loss function. But yeah, so it was able to talk to me really well. So this is about it. And that's how you teach an LLM to teach learn a language it's never heard. That's mostly about it.